Okay. Well, I guess it's not this week, but we're just doing a random one. It's going to be the Walking Dead preview. Super excited about the new season. Aren't you, T-Bad? Don't you love The Walking Dead?
Yeah, probably my favorite show.
Probably. It's not for sure your favorite show.
Not for sure.
I mean, it's definitely my favorite show on now. I mean, I don't know
But
about ever.
Breaking Bad is dead.
You know, I mean, I definitely liked Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Well, you read the comics, so you know all about it.
No, I mean they don't follow the comics very well, so I wouldn't say I know everything.
He knows enough.
But,
He knows
So
more than
you're
the
not going to be
average
able to
fan.
give any insight.
I mean, I could take a guess at what's going to happen,
That's
but
good. That's all we need.
Okay, that's what we're looking for. These are
yeah.
just
All right,
sort of
T-Bag.
predictions, I guess.
What are your predictions? What's gonna happen?
Well, I'm going to say that Tyrese, whatever his name is going to be a main character this season for sure.
Ooh.
He was a pretty big character in the comic book, and they haven't really made him to be a character he should be. So I'm assuming they're going to, give him a bigger role this season. Um, Other than that, I mean, there's not really much that they followed. I mean, Lori died a lot sooner than she did in the comic book. Uh, they're still in the prison, which, I mean, in the comic book they weren't there that long.
But from the
Uh,
previews, it looks like they're getting out of there real quick.
they might. Um, don't know. I mean, there's definitely. I'm assuming the next part, if they do leave the prison, is they're going to be traveling to Washington, D.C. So that
Is
was kind
that's
of
what happens in the comics?
yeah, that was like the next big thing.
So, do
Um,
you think they actually get to Washington this season, or do you think it's like the end of? When
uh,
do you think that they do leave the
A
prison?
whole season of the journey.
Yeah, like what do you think's gonna happen with that?
well, I mean, I think they'll have probably maybe half in the prison at least. I would say just to try to establish some of the new main characters that they're going to have. Um, but I mean, if they are going to leave the prison, I would assume maybe halfway through they meet the people that they do in the comic book that talk them into going to Washington.
So how far are
But
we like in the show compared to the comic books? Like, are we halfway done with the comic books or what?
well, I mean, the comic books are still being written.
Oh, there's still more
Uh,
coming out.
yeah, they
Oh, I didn't even know
just
that.
put out like issue 115 or something like that.
Ooh.
So, I mean, judging from where we are in the show, I would say we're about like in the 30s, maybe 40s.
Oh man, we got a lot of show
A
left.
lot. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah,
That's exciting.
yeah, maybe the late or the early 40s, somewhere around there. Because in the comic book, I think after issue 45 is when they leave the prison. But they haven't even. I mean, Rick hasn't lost his hand. I don't know if they're gonna make him lose his hand, but he did in the comic book. Um, I mean, that was pretty much right when he met the governor. The governor cut off his hand. So I mean that didn't happen. But I mean, if they're gonna make him lose his hand, I would assume that it would be in the beginning of the episodes, probably, and then maybe like halfway through, the governor would make his last attack in the prison and destroy the fence and whatever, and then they would leave. Um, but yeah, and like I said, they haven't really followed the comic book considering Dale's dead, Andrea's dead. Uh, uh,
I
forget
like
his
that.
name, but the one kid is not there anymore.
Sophia?
No, the kid that was with Tyrese, uh, like that
Oh,
family when
Oh,
they,
yeah,
the
yeah.
dad and the son.
yeah, that,
I don't remember their
uh,
names.
yeah, I don't remember, I forget their names, but yeah, they're
Is
not with
Milton
them.
still alive?
No, Milton died uh, pretty early, I guess, but there was like a female doctor that they didn't even add in the show, so. Um, I don't know if he's actually. Yeah, I'm assuming he just took over the role that she was supposed to play. But yeah, and like the whole bringing the people from the town thing didn't happen in the comic books. So I don't know. That's new.
So what about Michonne? I really like her. Does she have a big role in the comics?
Yeah. She's a little different in the comic book. She's more, I guess I'd say, insecure in the comic book.
Hmm.
She kind of talks to herself, kind of thing. Like she like sees like her dead boyfriend a lot, kind of like Rick sees Lori. Um, she hasn't really gotten that out of the show, at least. But yeah, she has a pretty big role. She's kind of the main female character with Andrea in the comic book. But
I hope she comes up to like second in command.
yeah, I mean, I'm a little nervous about what they're gonna do with Daryl, considering he's kind of like the Tyrese role in the show, and Tyrese in the comic book gets his head chopped off by the governor.
Yeah,
Yep.
I couldn't see him killing Daryl though. That would lose a lot of watchers. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of people
but I
watch
mean,
the show
No,
just
no
there.
one's safe in this show though.
yeah, no
Yeah,
one's
but,
safe.
man, they haven't killed someone like that popular. I don't think they
I
would.
like Dale. He was
Yeah,
a cool
Dale was
guy.
pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, this is Daryl. I don't see any way
They
they
would
kill
just end up
Daryl off.
replacing him.
That would suck. I would be pissed. I would still watch the
I mean,
show.
You
God,
would still watch it. Exactly.
I just
I think a lot
I
of
don't know.
girls would be turned off by that. A lot of girls
True.
think he's cute, you know.
He is a stud muffin.
And, you know, if you kill off a stud, you know, there's a chance you'll lose the women views.
yeah, I'm just saying that because Tyrese hasn't had that big role, and he's the one that's supposed to
Maybe
die.
Tyrese will get that big role for a couple episodes.
He
You know,
might.
you get backstory. Remember, like all the character deaths in The Walking Dead, they get their backstory, and then all of a sudden, oh, Axel gets shot in the head. You know, something like that will happen with Tyrese. You know, he'll get his big glory couple episodes, and then the governor chops his head off or does something to him.
Is he in the
Yeah.
preview though? I don't remember seeing him.
I haven't watched the second trailer, so I can't really say.
I just saw like the commercial after the Breaking Bad one or whatever it was.
Right?
Um,
I don't
Yeah.
remember. I haven't watched the first trailer in a long time. I just remember Michonne had a horse. It's pretty much all I remember
Oh,
from it.
Sean be cutting people.
I don't remember that one,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was the one where they were like on the street and there were cars there, and then all of a sudden they were completely surrounded, and then Daryl's there, and I know Michonne is there, and I can't remember who else is there, but I don't think I saw Tyrese there. So
Yeah, I didn't see that one, so I can't really say anything. But in the comic book, Tyrese was pretty much a badass. I mean, he was pretty cool. You know, he couldn't shoot a gun. Like, I mean, he can't shoot a gun in the show either, but but he had a hammer. And there's one part when they first get to the prison where he's freaking out. You know, I forget what happens. Someone dies that's close to him or something, and he locks himself in a gym full of zombies. And like they finally break in like 10 minutes later or whatever, like Rick and them, and like he's just sitting there on the floor, and he killed like 30 zombies with his hammer, and I was just like, wow, pretty fucking badass, you know. So I hope they make him that badass in the show, because he's probably my favorite character. Was my favorite character in the comic book until he died.
Are you all caught up on the comics?
No, I actually, because I got the compendiums or whatever they are, and that's only through like 96 issues, I think, something like that. So I haven't gotten the last like 20 or 30 or whatever it is.
Well, you'd
But,
still be way ahead of the show, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty far ahead. You know, we have like the show hasn't even gotten a couple of the main characters from the comic books, and we haven't met them.
Do you think we meet some of those main characters this season, or do you think they hold off on introducing? Like last season, it was like the governor. You know, we met the governor. He was huge. Milton, Andrea became main character. But do you think we meet anyone new, or is it just gonna be straight up what we have?
I wouldn't say we meet anyone new until maybe later in the season. I think we definitely, are in the prison for probably, like I said, I think half the season, if if not pretty much the whole thing. But yeah, I wouldn't. I would definitely say the earliest we'd meet people would be like halfway through. Like they might do like a mid-season finale kind of thing, and then like the mid-season finale is gonna be like them losing the prison for good kind of thing, and then when we pick it back up or whatever, it'll be Rick and Carl alone, and then they'll meet the rest of the people kind of thing.
Is
But
this,
I definitely would say it's gonna be at least the 8 or whatever episodes before we get to that.
is this going to be a different director again?
Yeah.
Do you know who it is?
I remember it, but I don't remember it. Let me.
The new showrunner, I know.
Yeah.
So, Lion, what do you think's gonna happen this season?
Well, I don't know anything about the comics, but
But just off what you know of the show,
I'm hoping that the kid, what's his name?
Carl.
Carl, yeah. I'm hoping he gets a little more role in there as a leader, and then we'll start to see maybe his dad die off, and then he becomes the leader. That's what I'm hoping for, and I could see like that coming out for many seasons to come as him being the leader. I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh, it's gonna be a writer that's been with the show since season 2. He's gonna be the new showrunner.
I know
Second
he's the
half of
one. I
season
know
2?
that the showrunner was the writer who wrote the episode Clear, which was the episode where they met. I believe his name is Morgan, right? Yeah, Morgan. They went back and
Oh,
saw
yeah.
Morgan, and that was the most highly regarded episode of The Walking Dead. I know some people didn't like it, but
I
99%
like
of
that.
people loved that
I thought that was
episode.
really cool.
So that's the showrunner. So what I've heard and maybe read was that he focuses more. He does like action, but he focuses more on like the mental and kind of sides of things, like how the zombie apocalypse has actually affected people in the mind and how it's training on them in terms of that. And you saw that in the episode Clear, where Morgan was gone crazy, and you could tell that after he lost his son, he was a completely different person. And that's, I think, from every indication I've gotten, that's kind of how he's going to run the show too. But I mean, it all remains to be seen. I mean, of course, the trailers are like, oh yeah, all this action's going to happen, but they said that in season 2, and the first half of season 2, there's like 5 zombies in the whole first half, so there wasn't really much anything going on the farm. So
Well, here's some of his work as the writer. He did the episode where Shane and Otis go to the high school.
fantastic episode.
He did the one where Rick first started going crazy,
Okay. Yeah,
and
more the mental
he.
aspect.
Okay, so we're gonna see more crazy Rick
Okay.
then. Is that what it
But
is?
then here's the stuff that he's done bad. He did the second Ghost Rider movie. He wrote the screenplay for that. So it's not like he's a perfect writer.
He's no Vince Gilligan, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think he'll be fine. He's been with this show long enough that he should know how it goes.
Are we gonna see Nicolas Cage make an appearance?
Maybe as a zombie cameo.
A zombie with an accent. That's what I want.
That'd be
God.
awful.
You totally ruined the show. I don't even know if I can continue to watch if Nicolas Cage came on.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I'm a zombie. I'm Nicolas Cage.
Nick, you're not supposed to talk, but I'm Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, give me another retake. Trust me, this is golden. No,
I love it. Sign me up.
breed. The Cage breed. It's its own breed, and if it even looks at you, you die.
But
God.
yeah, I mean, I obviously won't judge until I see it, but I hope it's more like the episodes he directed of The Walking Dead than Ghost Rider.
I think
Uh,
all hope. I think we would stop watching The Walking Dead for good if that happened.
no, I'll stop watching it once Daryl dies. But
Wow.
Really, that's a
Okay.
deal breaker for you. Oh.
I mean, I just like Daryl so much. He's just the one character since the beginning of the show that I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna follow this guy. I like him.
That's
So
what I
this-
said about Merle. And Dale.
Even
I'm still.
even like, well, I like Dale. I did like Dale, but like even like Glenn, like in the first few seasons, I hated him. He's just such a wimp. He was just
Yeah,
like,
he-
oh, I'm gonna run into the city because we need supplies, and I'm gonna go alone. And I'm like, you know what? You're
Yeah.
not even taking a gun. They won't even let you take a gun. Just what are you doing? But then in season 3, he kind of manned up, a lot, and I'm starting to like
It's
him.
too
But
late.
even if he died, I wouldn't care that much.
So this city,
He
hold on,
can't
hold on,
man up.
hold on.
He's
This
still
series scenario's been playing out in my head. Like the whole Maggie Glenn thing getting married is just freaking me out because I have a special affection for Maggie, Laura Conan's series. She's super hot, at least to me.
Nope. She is not.
Have you guys thought like like they get married right and then like one of them dies right away? Like is that I don't know. I think that could happen. And if it's Maggie, I'm gonna be pissed.
She's not that attractive.
I think if they get married and someone dies, it's gonna be Herschel.
Oh, that's a
Not
good.
that-
Really?
I think that's gonna send Maggie over the edge, and because in the comic book she tries to commit suicide.
He's
Oh,
he's
no.
gonna be.
Well, her sister did though in the.
Yeah,
show.
I guess her sister
Herschel-
dies in the comic book. I think.
Herschel's gonna be a lead weight anyways. He only has one leg. There's
Yeah,
no way they can move
I-
efficiently. He's
No,
gonna
no, no.
have to die
I
off.
hope Herschel gets to where Dale died in the comic book, because then he gets eaten by cannibals. Pretty good stuff.
Oh,
Okay. So there's cannibals.
interesting.
Yeah, there's cannibals later on. Spoiler alert.
Oh
But,
man. Story ruined.
But if that relationship really bugs you, Alex, I mean, you could get the whole Dale Andrea relationship in there. We could go back.
No, the relationship doesn't
Yeah,
bother
that's a great
me.
one.
The fact that when they get married, someone's gonna die. They just
Oh.
in my head like every time Maggie's by a zombie, I'm like, shit, she better not die. I'll freak out. It'll be awful.
Why?
I have affection. I told you I have a special affection in my heart for her.
She brings
I just-
nothing to the story.
I just hope Carol dies. She's annoying.
Carol's never dying. People love Carol.
Who
She's so
likes
annoying.
Carol?
Lots of people like Carol.
What?
Never met anyone
Have
who
Carol-
you
likes Carol.
ever
Carol and
heard
Daryl?
this?
Okay, if they're keeping her alive because of Daryl,
That is just such an awkward thing. I don't even know if it's like a cougar thing or a mommy and son thing. I don't
They
know what
kept Carol
it
alive
is.
after her whole she was starving for 3 days. She's in for the long haul. So get ready for her.
I'm just saying.
You had her
She
near
was
death.
she was kind of like Skylar for me for Breaking Bad. I just don't
Wow.
want her around anymore.
She takes
She's
care
not
of the
that
kid.
bad.
Are you kidding me?
She's just too calm. She's just like, Daryl's out there alone. Aren't you worried? He'll be
Um,
fine.
You mean she's a terrible actor, or
Yeah, well, that too. But it's like,
might as well be
Daryl's out
Kristen
there.
Stewart?
Aren't you worried about Daryl? No, he'll be fine. How are you not worried? Because someone has to be calm or whatever. I'm like, no. Rick is calm enough for everyone, and he's freaking crazy. So,
Rick is calm enough for everybody.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but he kept them alive through the winter, and he seemed pretty calm about it. So,
All right.
I think something snapped up there for good. You know what I mean?
So, death predictions. T-Bad, what are your death predictions? Season 4, who is going to die? Go.
It's a tough one. I'm gonna say Carol and the baby are gonna die.
Wow.
The baby. Ooh,
Okay.
old.
Well, the baby dies in the comic book. When the governor attacks, Lori's holding it, and they get sniped, and it goes through through her into the baby.
Wow.
And they just die.
That's
But
heavy.
anyway, I think Carol and the baby. Maybe Maggie's sister. Maybe. I hope not Daryl, but I could see it happening.
Wow.
Maybe Tyrese's wife or whatever she is. These are all maybes.
That's his sister.
Everyone, whatever she is,
These
sister,
are-
whatever.
okay, why don't you just say the whole cast?
I mean, anyone could die except Rick and Carl.
Really?
A lot of
Yeah.
people argue that Rick will die eventually in the comic, though.
I'm sure he will, but He's just kind of like the driving force.
Yeah, you need Rick and Carl. Carl, those are your two.
I mean, I can see the Lions' point that Carl could become the leader, but I think he's too young for that right now.
Give him a couple
Um,
years. Let his voice deepen a
yeah,
little bit. He'll be good.
I think they need Rick to like lead them still.
Maybe it'll be like a Simba and Mufasa situation where,
Yeah, maybe something like that, except not as gay.
Yeah, I like that.
Um,
Lion King reference.
yeah.
Okay.
but I don't know if Morgan's gonna come back, but he does in the comic book, and I kind of hope he does. But he
Really?
probably will die.
Yeah, I know he does a different TV show, so it's really hard for him to make any.
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't come back though. It's probably just gonna be another episode or whatever.
Yeah, just one episode.
Yeah, I mean, he might come to the prison and then die, something like that.
Yeah. Possibly.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, anyone could die potentially. I mean,
All right, Lion.
it's one of those shows.
Who do you got? Who's dying this season?
All right, I've got Herschel for
Alright.
sure because he's missing a leg and he's just gonna be a complete burden. He might actually sacrifice himself. I'm thinking when they get in a tight situation, he's just like, I only got one leg anyways. I'm just gonna hold him off. And then Maggie's sister. That's all I got.
Wow. That's all he's got. All right.
I know she's like being the mother and all for the baby, but I feel like Carol will do it anyways.
All right. I'm going to go with the governor. I don't think he could last past this season. I think they're totally just going to get rid of him. A lot of people were upset after last season that he wasn't finished off, so you get rid of him. I'm going to agree on Herschel, and I think you made a great point that he'll kind of be like on their wedding day kind of thing. Like zombies are going to break through the prison or something like that, you know? And like Herschel will hold him off, and then I think Beth survives. I'm gonna go with Martinez. I think Martinez will also die. I think he's just, a lot of people may think, oh, he could become part of the group. I just think there's too much friction between all of them. And then someone out of Tyrese's group, I don't know who, but one of them are gonna die too. Either Tyrese or his sister, I think, will also die. That was my predictions.
I didn't even think about the governor.
Me
Yeah,
either.
there's no way. I don't think there's any way you can have him last past the season. I mean, I think they're going to look at the feedback, too. A lot of shows look at feedback. Everyone wants him gone. They might have him fly under the radar the first half of the season, but he's going to make an appearance. And, you know, I bet you a lot of people hope Glenn kills him.
I could see him definitely being like an arch nemesis and like after they get to Washington or whatever you said they go.
Or just like maybe have him
You can
off the
track
radar
him.
for a couple seasons.
Well,
Yeah, and then have
well, in
him
the whole
track him
comic
down.
book thing, he basically like tries to kill them or whatever, and then it's like he thinks they're all dead because they're on their own, they got no supplies or anything. So he basically just leaves them to die. But in the comic book, it was more of like I guess a vendetta kind of thing, mostly for Michonne, because in the comic book, I mean, she did cut out his eye with a spoon, cut off his arm, I think, and his leg, maybe. But yeah, I mean, he didn't really. I mean, he wanted them dead, but like it was more like I guess the full frontal assault thing was more of like just a vendetta to try to kill Michonne.
That was one of the coolest scenes in The Walking Dead, was when Michonne took that glass and just sharded him in the eye. That was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I was pumped at that episode.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For sure.
Or maybe Michonne just taking that sword and just slicing his head off. That would be pretty gratifying too.
Just Michonne is badass, so.
She good.
I still think he's gonna end up tracking him down at like seasons later.
So you're
Like,
thinking,
Maybe.
him building up an army and just
I mean, that is one thing the governor's good at. He's very persuasive.
very.
I don't think he's not stupid enough to go in there by himself. He could definitely persuade people to join the side again.
Good.
Yeah, he's gonna have a good plan of attack. He's gonna have an army. I know it for sure.
army of soldiers instead of wimps, like his last army. And then he just killed them all.
Right. That one.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I think those are some good predictions. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens. I know you guys are too.
Oh yeah.
Until next time.
Yep.
See you guys.